Hi, and welcome to Summer Reading for Beverly High School for 2025. I'm Ms. Bechto, and I'm going to walk you through the process. All right, but before we begin, I want to talk about how summer is a time to really relax and, just keep the stress and anxiety that, can sometimes hit us in the school year at bay. And here are some ways that you can do this. So if you can take a walk, and taking a walk, according to a study that I recently read, can reduce your stress by 42%. Drinking coffee or tea, your morning dunks, that reduces stress by 54%. Listening to music, which is a big one for me, reduces stress 61% on average. And wait for it, reading a book can reduce stress by 68%. Now, the psychologists who did this study believe that that's because you have to concentrate on what you're reading, which leaves your body free to relax. So just focusing on relaxing doesn't work. You need another point of focus. Interesting characters, a good story, information that's, capturing your attention. These are things that can help with that, which is why the first thing I want to tell you is don't read something for summer reading because you feel obligated. Read it because you want to. Find what you're interested in and read that. I'm going to give you a list of books that were chosen for the Mass Teen Choice Book Award, books that I chose just because I really like them. But really, find something that you like to read. It doesn't have to be fiction. It can be nonfiction. The idea behind summer reading is just to give you practice in finding what you like and reading it. There is a component of having to show that you read it, but don't let that get in the way of just the reading. Okay. All right, here we go. This is really important. If you are going into 10th, 11th, or 12th grade on virtual day, there's going to be a summer reading survey. Please fill it out because even if you didn't get a chance to do summer reading or chose not to do summer reading, you can still get a 50% instead of a 0, which makes a huge difference being factored into your first quarter grade. So please do the survey whether or not you did summer reading. And for those of you going into 9th grade, you will have a chance to do this in your advisory in the first couple days. So make sure that you do that. All right. These are the Mass Teen Choice Book Award books. If you're somebody who likes to read, but you don't want to do a presentation or that feels like too much work for you, read one of these because then you can just vote for the book as your response to the reading. So do you think this book should win the Mass Teen Choice Award? Why or why not? Which person did you find the most interesting and why? And what scene did you find most interesting and why? And those questions are really just to give you the opportunity to show that you read the book without having to do too much heavy lifting. Now, if you're reading a book that is one of the other books or a book that you chose, you're welcome to read whatever you want. You can choose your own book for sure. And if you're in 10th through 12th grade, just go ahead and read. You don't even have to clear it with me. Those of you in 9th grade, I'd like it if you would clear it with either me or Ms. Wozniak, just because I don't know you yet, so I don't know what you're capable of. But you can read whatever you want, really. I just want you to read a book. So as far as the response pieces go, there's information on the website about it. There's a bunch of different things that you are welcome to do. If you have well, even if you don't have artistic talent, go ahead and make a piece of art because it's fun. And if you're good, or if it looks, if it speaks to whatever the people who are choosing for the summer reading art show, then you might get picked for the summer reading art show. And if you're, going to be applying to art school or, even college, it looks nice that you were honored, that you were put in an art show. So you can do that. You can write something. There's a Google Classroom that'll be available. You can upload something there. I really don't, it just needs to show that you read the book. Put in 3 details, whatever you do. If you're a terrible artist, feel free to use like a Starry AI or some kind of AI to create a picture. Just also make sure if you do that, that you give me the prompt so I know, what you said to it. Because usually the pictures are a little, anyway. So there's a lot of different options for what you can do as a response. Okay, it's due on September 5th. That is the first Friday of the school year. So bring it the first day. There's going to be a big container in the library that'll hold any art. And then if you can upload things to the Google Classroom, if that's your preference. So make sure you do it by the 5th. If you don't, if it's late, I will accept things up to September 26th, but you have to come see me. You have to come talk to me because that's my every time you turn something in late, it makes more work for your teacher. I don't know if you know this. That's why they hate late work. So this is my little reward to myself. Like I'll take the late work, but you have to talk to me about your book because that gives me joy. If I could, I would just talk to everybody about their book. There would be no projects, but there's a whole bunch of you and I'm only one person. So there you go. Okay, where do you find the books? The public library, of course. They have thousands and thousands, and they have people there who, if you're not really sure what you like to read, but you want to find it, they have people there who can help you find books. They're called librarians. They're lovely. I can also do that. Come to the, well, it may be summer already as you're watching this, but email me. I'm happy to help. Bookshop in the Farms and Copper Dog. If you're somebody who prefers to own your own books, they both have the list, so they should have most of these titles and a bunch of other ones. Also, online retailers, of course, will have all these. Libby, Hoopla, and Sora are three different apps that you can get on your phone or your computer or your tablet through the public library. There's also Canopy, which I didn't put up here, but they have not just ebooks, but also audiobooks. Audiobooks are a great way to get your summer reading done. I would say probably a third of my reading is now audiobooks because you can multitask. You can listen to your book while you're, well, I do it while I'm driving, but while you're working out, while you're cleaning the garage, anytime that you're not really using your brain and you would like to, ebooks or audiobooks are a great way to do that. Thoroughly counts as reading. All right. I'm just going to whip through these, but you can go to the website and look at them slowly. The summer reading at the Beverly Public Library is amazing. Katie Nelson is our teen librarian. If you take part in this, just let Katie know and she'll email me and that'll work for your summer reading response, that you took part in this program and you can win some stuff. There's a party on June 17th on the Common, tons of fun stuff. You can do the program and then you can win prizes, Copper Dog, Paper Asylum, Topsfield Fair, so many prizes. Then they've got all of these programs. There's food ones, there's STEAM ones, there's craft ones, there's gaming ones, there's more. There's family ones, there's ones just for middle schoolers, which if you're going into ninth grade, you can still qualify for that for the summer. All summer long, they've got a bunch of stuff going on. There's Katie. She's awesome. She went to Beverly High School and she's a terrific librarian and you should reach out to her. All right, so now I'm just going to talk about the books, and it's so hard for me because I want to give you so many details, but I can't. I've just got to whip through it. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe do some, for the ones that I really love or that I really want to talk up, I'll do some little individual videos over the summer, and I'll put those below. So there may be some individual videos, but there's also, there's lots of ways that you can investigate what these books are. All right, wish me luck. Everything is Tuberculosis. This is a nonfiction book by John Green, and it's about the dreaded disease of tuberculosis, which is a lung disease wherein basically you drown slowly in your own juices. It's pretty gross, but he talks about the history, and then he focuses on a kid he met in Sierra Leone who has had it since he was a toddler and is now a teenager and just wants to go to high school and get out of the sanatorium where he lives. And then, so Green uses his story to sort of show the history and also where we're going with it. If you're interested in medicine or, geopolitical inequity, this is a good one for you. All right, The Observologist. I have it right here. It's gigantic, but it's also kind of skews a little young, and it's all about the gross stuff that you can find outside. If you are babysitting this summer and you've got little kids who like bugs and worms and snakes and gross stuff, get that book. You can read it with them. They'll love it. All right, America Redux. This is one of the Mass Teen Choice books, and it's also a graphic novel. It's beautifully illustrated. And it looks at sort of the areas of American history that we're not super proud of. The Japanese internment, the segregation, Indian removal, and it looks at the impact of those, but also like how we've grown as a country since then. So it's a rough go. There's some sad stories in here, but ultimately, shows what it means to be an American. All right, Hidden Systems. This one is a graphic novel that I chose, and it's written for adults. So there's like a lot of sort of sciencey stuff in it, but it's about three different systems: the water system, which is going well, the electrical system, which could use some work, and then the internet, which I never knew anything about the internet, and I've been using it since its inception. So if you're interested in engineering or just learning about engineering stuff, this is a good one for you. All right, these are some sad stories. Um, Great Cool Ranch Dorito in the Sky. I have not yet finished this. It's about a kid named Brett whose mom is dying and he's self-medicating with booze and food, and it's not going well. And I hope he gets the help that he desperately needs. Hope in the Valley is really sweet. It skews a little young. So if you've got a little sister and you want to do a book club with her, it's about a girl who's entering ninth grade. It's the summer, and she is dealing with, her dad is starting to date again, and she takes part in a summer musical camp, and she's got a beautiful voice and she gets a lead, but she's so nervous about the attention. It's a really nice sort of story that starts out sad, but ultimately ends up being really good. Okay, Red, this is a retelling of The Scarlet Letter, and it's about a girl who's in a very religious community, and she, is really involved in the church and everything, and yet she gets pregnant and has an abortion, and somebody at her school sees her leaving the clinic, and they tell everyone, and all of a sudden she is, a pariah. People are just being awful to her, and how she comes back from that, and also she won't tell anybody who it was that got her pregnant, and as the reader, we know, and so we're like, "Ooh, wait till this comes out." All right. Anyway, really good story. And if you like old-timey American history, American literature, you can pick up Scarlet Letter too and compare them. All right, these ones are historical fiction, which I love. I Capture the Castle was one of my favorites when I was in high school. It's old-timey. Dodie Smith, who wrote this, wrote 101 Dalmatians, and it's about a fam of this girl Cassie who is her family is just poor. Her dad's a writer. He wrote one book, never wrote another one. They've been trying to live off that, and now they're out of money. And so she and her sister decide the only way that their family is going to be saved is if her sister finds a rich husband, and it's really funny. All right, Bletchley Riddle. This is an espionage book set at Bletchley Park, which is where they did the code breaking in World War II. And it's about two kids. One of them leaves leaves college to be a code breaker for Bletchley, and one of them the little sister is supposed to be going to the U.S. to escape the bombs. Instead, she breaks into Bletchley, so they have to give her a job because it's a secure site. And they find out that their mom, who they thought was killed in Poland by the Nazis, may actually be alive. But now the head of the OSS thinks that their mom was a spy. And so he's like, if your mother contacts you, it's going to be terrible. So they hope she's alive, but they don't want her to contact them. Lots of spy stuff. It's really good. Gwen and Art are not in love. Super cute. It takes place in like the 1500s in an alternate England. And Gwen is the daughter of the King of England, and Art is a great 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 grandson of King Arthur, and they've been engaged since they were babies. Their parents are like, their union will make England strong, but they hate each other's guts, and so they then have to band together to save England, and it's hysterically funny. There's a lot of, I mean, it's cute, it's romantic, but it's also like a lot of swordplay and jousting, and very funny. Okay, Big Jim and the White Boy is another graphic novel, and it's written for adults, so I'm going to warn you that there might be some disturbing stuff in here. Slavery was a disturbing time, and it's a retelling of Huck Finn, where in Huck Finn, Huck was a kid who was trying to escape his abusive father, and Jim was his sidekick. And in this one, Jim is the hero that we need today, and Huck is the sidekick. And they also bring in historical figures. So Nat Turner makes an appearance, Harriet Tubman makes an appearance. It's just a really great retelling of the story. The premise being that Jim is telling his grandchildren, his great grandchildren, how he escaped slavery. It's really good. Okay, these are the criminal books. Looking for Smoke is a straight up murder mystery, but it's set in the Blackfoot Reservation. Mara is she's just moved to I think it's South Dakota, and from the big city, and there's this girl who like bullies her, and then the bully girl ends up dead, and so she's a suspect along with these three other kids, and so they have to clear their names, obviously. All right, Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I'm only a couple of chapters into this, and it is creepy. So Sade she is new girl at the school, and she'd been homeschooled her whole life, and now she's at this boarding school, and I love a boarding school story, but I can't tell, like, are her parents dead? Is she estranged from them? Something terrible happened in the swimming pool, because every time she gets near a swimming pool, she like hallucinates clouds of blood, and then her roommate goes missing, Stuff's getting wild here. I'm definitely going to finish this one soon. All right, reappearance of Rachel Price. I can't go into detail except to say a girl's mother is disappears when she's like 2, and now she's 17, and her mother reappears, and she doesn't believe that it's her mother. And when you find out what happened, you will scream as loud as I did because I screamed loud. Okay, sports books. Raised to Be Myself is a story of Castor Semenya, and she is a woman who was a great runner, is a great runner, but she was raised in South Africa. And when she went into the world stage, she was accused of doping, but it turns out that she's intersex. So her body produces its own testosterone. And this caused a bunch of problems with the world's whatever running corporation. I don't know what they're called, but she had to mitigate the fact that her body was producing this natural substance by taking estrogen, and and she's got a good attitude about it. I'm still on the fence, but there's 2 different versions. The first one, the colorful one when she's all looking happy, is written for like at a middle school level, and then the other one where she's looking pensive, that one is written for adults. It's the same story, but there's a lot more detail in the adult one, but they're both fantastic. What Made Maddie Run it's a look at mental illness in sports. Maddie Holleran was a championship runner. She got a free ride to Penn State. She was running there. She looked perfect, thousands of Instagram followers, beautiful girl, lots of good friends, but she was suffering from clinical depression. And by the end of her senior year, she took her own life, or her freshman year, she took her own life. And her parents opened up her life to Kate Fagan, who's an ESPN journalist, and said, please tell her story so that other people can see that, it's mental illness is not something that you need to be quiet about. Like, you should be honest about what you're feeling, and that's, the way that you help yourself. Anyway, it's good, but I will warn you that it's also very sad. Undefeated Athlete, shortest book on summer reading. It's I can't remember if it's 10 or 12 chapters, but it's, things like how to deal with losing, how to take care of your body, how to understand your coaches. It's all, sports, little short chapters helping you with your sportsness. I am not an athlete, obviously, by the way, I just used the word sportsness, but it also works for just normal people like me. I found a lot of good advice in here. All right, I Kick and I Fly. This is a fiction book from the Mass Teen Choice Book Award, but it's set. Well, okay, so the premise is this girl, Hira, gets kicked out of school at 14 and finds out that her father was going to sell her into the sex trade, which she's not a fan of course. And so she runs away, and she's working in a youth hostel, and she starts doing kung fu as a way to, sort of see her body as a protecting, powerful thing rather than something that people can make money off of. And so she ends up really getting good at that. And that's something that does happen a lot with girls who have escaped this world. And so the author has worked with these girls, and it's not a nonfiction story, but it's based on, people that she's worked with. All right, these are the scary ones. Don't be scared. Uh, Mr. Magic is like, okay, so the show Barney, I love you, you love me. You remember Barney the Purple Dinosaur? This is like if Barney was Satan. Basically, these 5 kids, well, they're adults, but young adults, um, used to be on a TV show when they were little, Mr. Magic, and there's no evidence, like there's no YouTube videos. Every time anybody brings it up on Reddit, the thread disappears. Somebody clearly doesn't want there to be anything about Mr. Magic out in public, but they get invited to be on a podcast about Mr. Magic, and maybe we're going to, revive the show. It's going to be great. So they get invited to this really, really creepy house out in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and they go. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, don't go in the basement. Spoiler, they go in the basement. It's scary, but it was good. Written for adults. So just if it's too much for you, put it down, pick up something else. Like Spirit Sleuths. This is about spiritualism, which after World War I, a lot of people had lost, their sons or their husbands or their sweethearts in the war. And so they wanted to like they wanted to get over their grief, but therapy hadn't been invented yet. And so they went to spiritualists who could commune with the people who said they could commune with the spirits. Anyway, there was also a group, but for a cost. So there was a group of people who said, you're taking advantage of people's grief. You're all just, cheaters. And so one of them is, oh my gosh, I've lost his name. Houdini. Harry Houdini was a very, anti-spiritualist guy so there's a lot about Houdini in here. It was just fun. It skews a little young. but it's really interesting. Okay, Call Me Iggy, really cute graphic novel about a kid who is haunted by his grandpa. And he'd never met his grandpa. His grandpa died before he was born. He knocks over his ashes. Now Abuelo's here and is helping Iggy with his life. Helps him with his Spanish class, but does not help him get the girl that he likes because Abuelo's game is firmly entrenched in like 1957 and it doesn't play today. But anyway, super cute book about how important it is to sort of have an old person in your life. We're annoying, we're weird, but we have depth of wisdom and we're good. All right. Wilderness of Girls, super weird. It's about these four girls who were, since they were toddlers, were raised out in the woods, have no like concept of the real world. They think they're princesses who someday, when they meet their fifth sister, are going to go through the moon and be queens in this kingdom. And then this girl Rhiannon saves them. One of them gets her foot caught in a bear trap, and Rhiannon's like a junior park ranger. She saves them. They think she's the fifth sister, and they try to like talk her into joining them in going through the moon to be princesses in the kingdom. Super weird, but I couldn't put it down. All right, I Will Never Leave You. This one is the one I'm saving for last. It's basically the worst breakup ever. This girl, I think her name's Maya, she and her girlfriend have been together since freshman year, and now she wants to break up because the girlfriend is really emotionally abusive. And so she breaks up with her. They're on a hike. They have a big fight, and Maya leaves. And then her now ex-girlfriend keeps hiking, falls off a cliff, and dies. So Maya feels terrible, that this has happened to her, but also a little bit relieved until her ghost comes and starts haunting Maya and tells her if she doesn't help her find a body that she can possess so that she can live out her life, she's going to make it look like Maya killed her. It's the worst breakup ever. All right, these are all about relationships, and they're mostly really fun. No Girlfriend Rule. I'm like almost at the end of this, and I'm just parsing it out. I'm reading it so slow because it's so sweet. Basically, Hollis starts playing Secrets and Sorcery, which is like Dungeons and Dragons, as a way to sort of, get closer to her boyfriend. Like he plays, and he's like, "Oh no, babe, we have a no girlfriend rule." And so she starts playing with these other kids, and she maybe finds love there. It's super sweet. Navigating with You it's a graphic novel. It's about two new kids who become obsessed with the same manga, or they find out that they're obsessed with the same manga, and they decide to go on a quest to um to get all five issues of it because it's like $150 on eBay. So they're like going to library sales and, garage sales and stuff. It's just really cute. And it's about how like, as you get older, when you're younger, your friendships are like, because you live near each other or you're on the same soccer team or your parents are friends. But as you get older, you start picking friends based on your interests. And it's a different thing. It was adorable. Last Boyfriend's Rules for Revenge. Okay, this skews older. I feel like this book was written for middle-aged ladies, but it's very funny. It's a retelling of The First Wives Club, which you've never seen it because you're not a middle-aged lady in 1997. But it's about these three boys in Alabama, and they have all just been ditched by their boyfriends, and they decide to have an epic revenge. And it's very, very funny. All right, Wish You Weren't Here. It's Camp Story. It's if you've seen The Parent Trap, Lindsay Lohan or Haley Mills version, where they hate each other at camp. This whole book is like that piece. They don't find out that they're twins. They don't try to get their parents back together. They just learn to live together. It's these two, they're like frenemies at school, and then they end up being at the same camp, and they're like, oh no, not this, but they have to work together for the good of the summer. It's super cute. This one, super romantic. It's about a couple, and they've been together for a year, and they are, it's their anniversary, and it's a big deal. And it talks about, 20 seconds from now, they're gonna like take the next step in their relationship. And then it goes back 24 seconds before that. And then it goes back 24 minutes before that. And then it goes back 24 hours before that. So you see their relationship sort of how it works, but you see it backwards in time. It's really cute. Jason Reynolds wrote All American Boys. He wrote a ton of books. He's a really good writer. There's a cute little irritating weird dog, but you find out also about their families and how like seeing healthy relationships in your life helps you to have healthy relationships, but also when you don't see healthy relationships, like how can you mitigate that? It's adorable. It's a quick read, but very sweet. Okay, this is the last section, the future. All right, Fahrenheit 451 is about a future where books are illegal. My worst nightmare. And our hero is a fireman, which, we know means you put out fires, but in this world, it means you find books and you set them on fire. And so it was written in like I think 1953. So it was they were scared of TV, but also scared of fascism. And there are a lot of parallels to things going on now where people don't want they don't want there to be information out about certain topics because they think that it's dangerous. And it's about freedom, man. All right. Anyway, an excellent book. And if you want to, it's a great starter classic. It's accessibly written and it's a good story. It's not that long. If you want to, sort of be just reading more of the classics, this is a great one to pick. Okay, Starter Villain is so goofy and fun. I laughed my head off the whole way through. It's about this guy Charlie, and his only friend is his cat. He doesn't have he's a substitute teacher at a middle school. He's trying to buy a bar, but he can't afford it. He can't get a loan. He's recently divorced. Anyway. And then his uncle dies, and he never had a relationship with his uncle because his dad was always like, "Your uncle's evil." Well, it turns out his uncle is evil like the James Bond villains are evil. Like he has an island fortress that has talking dolphins that, patrol it. His cat, turns out it was sent by his uncle to spy on him to see if he has the potential to be evil enough to run the empire. And he's a really nice guy, but he's willing to try to be evil to get the billions of dollars that his uncle has left him. It's a hoot. All right, Happy Head, not a fun book. It's about a kid, Seb, who's he goes to the Happy Head like corporation, which is a group. He has clinical depression and he's having a really hard time with it. So his parents sign him up for Happy Head, and it's, you go away and it's like an intensive therapy thing, except for it's like torture. And it raises some interesting questions like what would you be willing to go through to feel better? Um, I have not made it through this one yet because I'm finding it a really hard, not hard, like it's not a difficult read, but just emotionally it's rough. Anyway, I don't like seeing teenagers tortured, despite what you may have heard, but lots of people have really loved it. All right, aisle nine, straight up demon apocalypse. This kid Jasper, he has amnesia. He works at Here for You Mart, which is like a jankier version of Walmart. He doesn't know where his parents are. He knows he had them. He lives with his roommate is a demon, but a cute little demon that looks like a stuffed kitten. And everyone at work hates him. And then he finds out that the apocalypse is coming and he has to stop it and kind of on his own. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to stop the apocalypse because these hellmouths have opened up where demons are coming through, and there's a security company who's making sure that they're, safe-ish. But there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. It's pretty, I will tell you, it's pretty violent, but it's like cartoony violence. So I'm a big baby about that sort of thing, but I was fine with it. All right, Star Splitter, straight up science fiction. It's about this the way that you travel in deep space in the future, 2199, is you scan yourself. You get all of your, you scan your body, but also your mind and like your memories, what would constitute, I guess, your soul. All that gets scanned, turned into data, shot into deep space, and then you're reprinted wherever it is that you want to go. So your body on Earth is just nothing. It's just leftover garbage. So they sedate it, they take your guts out and give it to, people who need organ transplants or whatever, and then incinerate you. There's no more, people no longer care about the body because it's your data that makes you human. So Jess goes out and she's out in the middle of space. She's supposed to meet her parents who are investigating this planet that might be able to sustain human life. Excuse me, very exciting. And she's supposed to be printed on this science vessel with a big crew looking at the planet from above. When she gets there, when she gets out of the printer, she has to use the, emergency exit, and she goes out and she finds no one. And she finds that she is on the planet. She's not circling, she's on the planet. Luckily, I mean, the planet's supposed to be uninhabited and it can hold human life, like there's an oxygen-based system. Anyway, she goes outside and she finds a row of freshly dug graves. Now, here's the thing. No earthling is burying people anymore. That's not the culture. That's not what they do. So something is there and she doesn't know what it is, but she's not alone. Oh, it's so good. All right, this is the last one. In the Lives of Puppets. This is probably my favorite book I read so far this year. Humans are extinct. It's, 400, 500 years in the future. We don't exist anymore, except for Victor. Victor's the only human left. His dad is an android. And when he found Victor, And when he did, he made himself a little heart and he put some of Victor's blood in it to sort of humanize himself. He built these nice tree houses that you can see on the cover, and they just live out in the middle of nowhere out in the Pacific Northwest. Now, most of the other robots that now populate the Earth, they live in the cities, and what they do with their garbage is they put it on a pallet and they take it and they fly it over and they dump it at this dump near where Victor lives. So his thing, he's an inventor too. He's only like 18 or 19, but he's quite good at it. So he goes out to the dump all the time to try to scavenge, and he's made like some robot friends for himself. And one time he goes and he finds this almost perfect android. Guy's missing a foot and an arm, and he doesn't have a power source. But other than that, he's in pristine condition. So Victor takes him home. He's going to make a new friend as like a surprise for his dad. Puts the guy, out on a slab, starts working on him. Takes him a few months, and he finally gets him all fixed. And he doesn't have a power source, but he's made a backup heart for his dad. And he's like, I'm gonna try. I can make another heart for dad later. So he puts a little bit of his blood in it because that's like the family tradition, and he puts it in HAP. They call the robot HAP because it's HAP on his identification card. Puts the heart in HAP, and he comes to life. It's amazing. Who am I? Where am I? Who are you? The only problem is that HAP stands for Human Annihilation Protocol, and he is a hunter. He's one of the robots that made the humans extinct. And if you remember, Vic is the last human on Earth, so things get real crazy real fast. Anyway, great, great book. All right, that's the last one I've got for you. So I hope that you heard about something that you like, and if you didn't, please go find something that works for you. Don't finish a book just because you feel obligated. If you don't like a book, find something else. What else? And you can read anything you want. Okay, that's all I've got for you. I hope that you have a wonderful summer. My face is going to get real big here for a second, and now I will go. All right. Have a great summer. Bye.